President Ramaphosa has folded as Energy Minister Gwede Mantashe's emergency electricity procurement powers remain untouched. Now, it was a month into the job where the Electricity Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa still doesn't have clarity on the extent of his own powers. What exactly can he do and who can he tell what to do? Well, Ramaphosa was expected to give these ministerial powers to Ramokgopa, but that hasn't happened and it doesn't look like it's likely to happen anytime soon, according to some critics. So let's find out how exactly Eskom is supposed to be working now. I'm joined by energy expert Hilton Trollip, a fellow at UCT's Global Risk Governance Program. Hilton, good to have you on ENCA. You and I haven't spoken for some time now. Let's talk about these powers. I know it's an ironic name to use when we're talking about the electricity minister, but it seems he doesn't have anything or any power to actually do anything.
Good morning, Gareth. And yes, if you look at what's actually being done, nothing. Talk. The Energy Minister gave an extensive interview last December to Judge Dennis Davis, where he explained that, in his opinion, as the Energy Minister, the way to fix Eskom was to basically take a project management approach to fixing the coal-fired power stations. Subsequently, the Electricity Minister was appointed. The Energy Minister at that stage said that he would be doing project management. And the Electricity Minister then went on this tour of the power stations and essentially came back with the same plan that Gwede Mantashe had explained to Dennis Davis a few months before. Nothing new. In my view, this plan can't and won't work. And then the Electricity Minister took this plan to Cabinet yesterday, and Cabinet said, well, come back later and tell us again. And so it's just talk. And just about these powers, we have a the Electricity Regulation Act gives quite extraordinary powers to the Minister Mantashe to do all kinds of things, which is one of the reasons the state of disaster was withdrawn, because basically it wasn't needed to deal with the situation. What's needed is that Minister Mantashe is constitutionally and legally required to do certain things, and he's simply not doing them. And the Electricity Minister seems to actually be a political appointee as the new CEO, because there's an acting CEO, there's no CEO, and he's gone into Eskom and tried to throw his weight around, but of course money doesn't solve problems. People solve problems. And people have to do things in the physical world, and nothing's happening.
There seems to be, Hilton, this understanding and this belief that quite a lot, if we look at timelines for the year ahead. I was listening to Dr. Ramokgopa on the radio this morning with a well-known South African radio morning show, and he was saying that by December we would have, and I assume by we, either he means government or as a country, not too sure, would have made great progress in getting load shedding and blackouts under control. Do you get a sense that even if he were to be given all these powers magically bestowed upon him by the president and he could do what he needed to do, there could be much difference between now and December? As you answer, Hilton, I may interrupt you in a couple of moments. We're expecting a briefing on the school nutrition program. I hope not to interrupt you, but I may have to. But in the meantime, do you feel much can be done in the next, let's call it 6-7 months?
Quite simply, Gareth, to help you with your timeline, no. Because there's no substance to the plan, and me and a number of other independent experts that have got no political skin in the game or any skin in the game whatsoever have said that these 80 big generators, their energy availability factor will just continue to slowly deteriorate as they get older, and as the organization that is Eskom, which is really under pressure, really struggles to maintain them. So yeah, we've seen nothing of substance on the table, and so things will just deteriorate. And that's, unfortunately, that's not news these days. It's been normalized that we're on stage 5, stage 4, stage 6, probably going to get worse. And it's difficult to make news out of a very slow train crash.
Yeah, some people are saying it's starting to feel a bit like the frog in the cold water, doesn't know that it's actually being boiled until it's too late. I've heard that analogy as well. Hilton, where do you sit on this coal debate versus renewables? And I ask the question because obviously you're going to have the environmentalists, and I completely agree, wanting to move away from coal. At the same time, we've got an economy that is tanking without power. So where do you sit on the coal versus renewable? Is it one or the other? Is it a combination? Should we be getting rid of coal? Should we be going nuclear? Where are you on this?
So Gareth, even I'm not going to say whether I'm an environmentalist or a Marxist or capitalist or any kind of ist. Purely as an engineer and as an economic energy system modeler, the cheapest, fastest way to solve the energy problem is to put solar and wind onto the system as fast as possible. Even the government's IRP 2019 modelling showed this, incontrovertible. So it's actually it's another red herring. It's another false debate. This coal versus renewable, it's an environmental thing. It's not an environmental thing. Of course, I will tell you where I stand on that. Yes, we've got to decrease emissions radically, quickly, the whole world, every country, but that's not really relevant to this debate at the moment. To fix this system, the fastest, quickest way is a whole lot of wind and solar. And it is the Energy Ministry's responsibility to do that. And because of its support of coal, and this is where coal comes in my view, and not just my view, on the Energy Minister's own version on a number of, and I've heard him say this, it's not a reporter said, I've watched him on TV. He's anti-coal. He believes in the so-called baseload myth that renewables can't solve the problem. And so because he can't get his coal, we're all not getting electricity.
And that is a widely held view as well by many people, even if it wasn't the minister himself saying it. I think many people have suspected that for a long time. Hilton, I'm going to say thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's always good to hear from you and to speak to you. Hilton Trollip, energy expert, of course, a fellow at UCT's Global Risk Governance Program. And if I had more time, I would have gone into the governance of everything and what it looks like from a risk perspective. But I will see if our team can't get Hilton back again in a couple of days. But it is stage 5 at the moment. Going back into stage 6 again, as we have been the whole week. Nothing's changed. Still a disaster. Going back to stage 6 again from 4 p.m. this afternoon.